Happy Hump Day, Bourbon family. We are halfway through the week. Whiskey Phoenix coming to you today, not with a bourbon review. Again, trying to pace these a little bit and at the same time test out some different content to see what you guys think. Kind of like I did yesterday, little educational video, if you will, learning what a DSP was. Today I thought I would come to you with what makes bourbon a hazmat. Now, I know you've heard me mention it before in a few of my videos. And while I know what proof it needs to be to make it a hazmat, and I've kind of heard why they're referred to as hazmats, I decided I'm going to do my own research and I'm going to educate myself and I'm going to pass that on to you all as well. So, bourbon is called a hazmat because it is bottled at 140 proof or higher, which is 70% alcohol by volume, which is too flammable to legally be carried on a commercial airplane, just like any other hazardous material. Kind of wild to think about. Now, the high proof is achieved through a specific, often hot and long aging process that causes more water to evaporate than alcohol, which leads to its concentrated strength and intense flavor. So, again, what makes bourbon hazmat? The high proof. It has to be 140 or higher. The flammability. At the high proof, alcohol is considered highly flammable, and it's not permitted by the FAA on commercial flights. The aging process makes it and contributes to it being a hazmat, which again is the result of a process where the high temperature and humidity in the warehouse cause the water to evaporate faster than the alcohol, which concentrates the spirit's strength over time. And a lot of the hazmats are considered rarities because, reaching that high of a proof is difficult, and hazmat bourbons therefore fall into that rare and kind of sought after, highly sought after category by collectors and enthusiasts such as myself. Now, some of the reasons why people enjoy hazmat bourbon, including myself, is there is more of an intense flavor profile. It seems like that the high proof concentrates the whiskey flavors, resulting in a bolder, more potent taste profile. And again, like I said in the previous statement, it's considered a collector's item due to their rarity. Hazmat battlings. Listen to me, I can't talk today. And I haven't even had anything to drink. Hazmat bottlings are often limited in editions and highly collectible. Now, I don't know about you all, but I found that pretty interesting. Which then also led me to look in my bourbon collection. And you would think with as few bottles as I have remaining, I haven't actually counted. I mean, if I look at my only drams, it says I have 59 bottles because I realized now I'll be up to 60 with the one we unboxed yesterday. But the thing is even though it says I have 60, like some of those are gone. They're empty. And I don't know, I'm not sure I really like the updates to only drams. I'm going to go on a tangent here for just a second and then we'll get back to it. Because when I would empty the bottle, it would go into a different part of only drams into the history, and then it would remove itself from any bottles that I had opened that were actually in my collection. So back to the hazmat, off that tangent. So I had to go and look. It's I'm almost positive I have a hazmat level bourbon. And, of course I do, because on 11/2, I did a review of Whiskey Weather's pick of his barrel pick of an Augusta 13 year. And this came in at 141.6 proof. So I guess I'm lucky that I was able to get my hands on an actual Hazmat. So it's the one and only that I've ever had so far. But I also wanted to do a little more research. Try and find out, like, and we're going to do a little cheers at the end, so we'll go ahead and get this poured. So I wanted to do a little more research and find out, like, what's the highest level of a Hazmat that's ever been done. So then, me being me, I went down a rabbit hole. And, it kind of said some of the same things, but I found it interesting as well that for whiskey to reach the ultra high proof to become a Hazmat, it helps if the whiskey that enters the barrel is also high in proof. But I guess there's a ceiling as to how high it can initially go in at. Bourbons and most whiskeys cannot exceed a barrel entry proof of 125. And that's per the Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms regulations. My research drove me to something else that I didn't realize. So as bourbon ages in barrels, its proof level changes. But there's a lot of factors that go into that and can account for it, with temperatures being the major contributing factor. And also one of the big factors is that rick houses are usually cooler on the lower level and hotter on higher floors. And some rick houses go as high as 9 stories. So generally, barrels that get placed on the lower floors will lose proof, while the barrels placed higher will gain proof. I mean, and of course there are exceptions to that, I'm sure. So continuing with my research, I found that Kings County, I guess at one point in time, had the highest proof ever released at 177.4 proof. It was a wheated whiskey aged 7 years in a 5-gallon barrel, which saw an 89% share. Now, I guess the master distiller, they only give his last name, Spellman, said that he doesn't know if we can ever replicate that or if they would even want to. But it was definitely a fun bonus, I guess, when Kings County did that. And it was a good whiskey at that high proof. I was just like, I can't even imagine. Again, the highest I've had is, the 141.6 that I got from my good friend, Brandon Whiskey Weather. So there you have it. If you didn't know what makes bourbon a Hazmat, now you do. I hope you found this informational. I've got my pour of it here. This one, I broke this out specifically for you guys because I'm holding on to this one. It's the most expensive bottle in my collection, and I try and hold on to it for special occasions. But you know what? You all are very special to me. I felt this was a special occasion, and since I was going to be highlighting what makes bourbon a Hazmat, I figured I might as well just go ahead and break it out and have a little sip. Truth be told, gives me an excuse to drink it because it's that good. Again, I did a review of it on 11/2. You can find it on my TikTok page if you want to know what my thoughts are on it. I hope that you're enjoying this hump day. Big shout out again to, other new followers that have been coming along. I really appreciate all your guys' support. I can't tell you how much it means to me. I mean, I love you guys to death for it. I really do. But I hope you enjoy what is left of this hump day. You're almost there. Can see it in the distance. Friday is right there. I cannot end this, though, without saying, as always, please drink responsibly. And I'll see you in the next one.